Hello YouTubes, this is Grimweird coming back at you with more Enigmatica 2 Expert Mod Pack playthrough action for Minecraft 1.12.2. As always, we are joined by our lovely avatar, Zombie Steve. And so last episode we went to the Twilight Forest. It was a long episode, an hour, but hopefully I'll be able to upload it. Let's take a look at what I've done since then. I've promised myself I'm not going to look in my ore miner chests for a while, so I haven't, but I'm sure they're progressing along nicely. To distract myself, I've done a few things. I did some mining at the Twilight Forest, which I will show you the results of that in a moment. I've expanded my ME network, so I now have coprocessors, which allow them to which allow the ME interface to interact with multiple molecular assemblers to all of my 5 CPUs that I've got going so far. I made some 4K crafting storage, so I've now got, let's take a look. I haven't actually looked at what I've got. Let's see, what's the easy way to look at that? Let's try this. Alright, so if I'm going to try and craft one of these, I should now be able to. Okay, so I went from, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 on my first CPU, my main CPU, up to almost 30,000, so that is good. Then I've got another one, my second one's a little over 8,000, a little over 6,000, 5,000, and 1,000. Oh, and it even lists how many coprocessors you have. So coprocessor of 1 lets it use, instead of just one neighboring molecular assembler, it can now use 2. And I have added some molecular assemblers to the faces of everything, so that, you know, this guy, if I'm building something here, let's say there's a molecular assembler in the core of this, but let's say that's busy, it now has 4 other options for doing stuff. So I was getting a bit of logjam going there. Let's take a look at our storage now that I think of it. So we're starting to make a reasonable dent in our storage. Some of that is due to just I have not done any kind of housekeeping on what's been going into my storage. So I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff in there. Like I noticed when I was looking around, I was looking for a chest recently and noticed I have a bunch of broken like Faraday and other weird stuff in there. So I'm getting, you know, armor pieces for my guns in there. Those are going to take up, like, you know, each of these is a type, and I think, for instance, a Faraday chest plate durability 2 of 16 is one type, and 5 of 16 is another type. So that may be taking up a couple slots. So bottom line is, when I start breaking into this 4th drive bank, I'll need to just do some housekeeping, and I have sort of an idea what kinds of things might be clogging it up. So yeah, ME expansion, so that was good, and that was mostly because I wanted to do a couple of big combines, like, you know, thousands of items, and couldn't. So I mostly wanted to get my CPU 0, and since I was making a bunch of stuff for it, I just made as much as I had on hand, and expanded as I could. So what else? Yes, so Draconium ore. We have now found Draconium ore in the Twilight Forest, and we'll teleport over there and show you what I've done so far. But when I look at getting more of it, because it's not turning out to be super plentiful in Twilight Forest, so you can see it drops at 0.00%, and we'll talk more about that when we look at what I'm mining. So I just glanced here and noticed that the deep dark is, you know, considerably better, 0.06%. And there are other planets, but actually the deep dark seems to be a good way to get it. The other way is to get to Void Miner Tier 6, which is probably going to take us quite a while. So what I did was I took a look at, let's go deep dark. Here we go. To get to the deep dark, we can now make litherite, yay. We can now make iridium, yay. A draconium ingot. Well, you saw I got one ore and I can get more. So as long as I don't need it in mass, I can get it from Twilight Forest. But then you need 4 sextuple compressed cobblestones to get to the deep dark, or to make the deep dark portal. So obviously that's a lot. So apparently 1 sextuple is 531,000, and you need 4 of them. So you basically need a couple million, 2 points, almost 3 million. I can't do math. Anyway, millions of cobblestone. So I did a quick Google search on cobblestone generators to find something quick and easy. And what I've got here is an extra utilities node for items, extra utilities 2, transfer node for items, and then a transfer pipe. And basically what it's doing is, if we take a look at what's in it, first of all, I've got 4 speed upgrades. So it's cooking right along, making lots of cobblestone. And then it's got a mining upgrade. And so I think the theory here is there's a cobblestone under it, and it mines it and sucks it out, which allows the water and the lava to come in contact and make another cobblestone. But because it's happening so fast, it doesn't actually break the block. It just takes it and replaces it. So I put it here just to feed it into my ME import chest, along with everything else that's going on up here. And it seems to be doing gangbusters. So if we take a look at cobblestone, so I just made as much quadruple compressed cobblestone as I could minutes before starting this video. And I'm back up already to 2,800 cobblestone here. So we've got cobblestone, we've got compressed, we've got double compressed, we got triple compressed, and we got quadruple compressed. So we're getting up there. To get to sextuple, obviously we need quite a few more, but I think in a day or two we'll actually have enough to get these bad boys. So we're going to walk away from that and leave that alone, other than I'm going to occasionally check this and condense things. I did make recipes to autocraft this, but when you say like you want to just making one quadruple compressed takes 1,000 bytes. I think this may have been one of the reasons I decided to upgrade my CPU. There was some other thing I was trying to make a ton of that it wouldn't let me. Alright, so that's what's going back at the home base. Was there anything else I wanted to mention from back here? I don't think so. So let's go ahead and wander on over to the Twilight Forest. So what I've done in the Twilight Forest, you can see I've got one of my lovely favorite cave illuminators here. So you probably have noticed all those if you're just picking and choosing what you come through on my videos. You've noticed a lot of yellow lights in my base. And you can sort of see there's probably some down here. If we take a look. Yeah, so that yellow wispy light off there is provided by the cave illuminator. So in a 3-block radius, we take a look at that. So that would be here, here, here. So basically a big old radius like this. It will try to light up the darkness. What's going on over there? Anyway. Cobalt or something. Then you can see over there in the distance, I've got another one. So I've been mining around a lot underground, and just to show you, I wanted to expand the area that I was lighting up. So you can see I put another one off over there. So now if we run back down here, whoops, that is not where I wanted to run to. Pardon me. We had a brown magic misfire. That's never good. So I had this little ravine here that let me get a part of the ways down. And then I came down a bit further and ran into a freaking lake. And then I came down further and found bedrock, but ran into a freaking sea. So there's just tons of water around here, and I cleared some of it out and tried to make do with doing this. And finally I just said, heck, I'm out of here. So you can see it's still dripping here. So I just took off and went for someplace a little drier. And yeah, so this is dry. And as you can tell, I have vein mined the crap out of it. So basically I've just been running through and just blowing it up. Taking huge chunks out of it, eating lots of food, getting prosperity shards. So my impression so far, one of the things you'll notice probably, or one of the things I'm going to force you to notice, is I have upgraded my excavator and my axe to unbreakable. And I finally got up the Grandmaster on my hammer and upgraded it to unbreakable too. It took it a while since it had all the haste and various other things on it. But that is because, let me find a good place to keep digging into the wall. Ahead of me is good. What you run into, as you can see them here, there's roots here which take wood to chop at a reasonable rate. And there's dirt, like see all this dirt here? So all of this broken up, ugly stuff going off in the distance is when I vein mine dirt, because there's just annoying pockets of dirt and wood everywhere. So if I go, boom, you can see I got more of that damn dirt. Get rid of it, and it cheddar cheeses the walls. But anyway, so it's sort of an obnoxious place. I better eat. So yeah, it's sort of an obnoxious place to mine. And then if we take a look at what we're facing here, I left, other than the one Draconium I picked up, just for kicks and giggles, I left the rest here. There's something somewhere. Cobalt's in the wall. So basically, if we turn on our chunk map, I'm thinking that the 0.00% that we're talking about is giving us basically like one block. First of all, the veins are only one block big. Second of all, you can see there is like 0 or 1. This is the only chunk that I've found 2 in. So I would say 0, 1, or 2 veins, and only 1 block for vein. So that's what 0.00% means for Draconium in, oh, was this another 2-banger, or was these? Okay, so here's another chunk with 2 in them. So 0, 1, or 2. So that's what 0.00% looks like. So if we take a look at this, if we look at how to make this, you can, oops. So you can get 2, if you use petroleum dust, you can crush it for 2. Pulverizer gets you 2. even pulverizer with tectonic initiator only gets you 3. Basically, if you're looking through all of these, then you're basically getting 2 per ore, which ain't real fun. However, if you take a look at drops and mouse over it, you'll see that Fortune 3 gives you average drops of 7.5. So breaking this with my Fortune hammer, again, for those who are just dropping by off and on, I've got a pickaxe that is Silk Touch and a hammer that is Luck 3 or Fortune 3. So I assume that Luck 3 equals Fortune 3. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to test this all out by breaking this. And then we're going to have to teleport back to see what I got, because it sent it to my ME system. And I got 8. So with an average of 7.5, I got 8. So 8 per ore is considerably better than most of the crushing and grinding and etc. options. So we are going to continue on with that strategy. So that one we only got 2, but still, if it averages 7.5 like it says, then we're going to come out ahead if we continue to just break them with the hammer. So that's where we are at Draconium, which was the main reason I came to Twilight. I'm probably not going to do a playthrough of the Twilight Forest and do a lot of adventuring and boss progressions. So we're just going to grab some of this and see how much we get. And that'll give us enough for we want an ingot for the deep dark portal. I think there are a few other things that only require a small amount of Draconium, which this will take care of. And if we need a few more dribs and drabs, we will come back and do a bit more of this. But for now, let's just finish off harvesting what I've found in my strip mining extravaganza. Is there another one? Alright, that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. Alright, so for now, I think we're going to leave that. What I did do, let's go back to the base. What I did do was to see what kinds of stuff was dropping first. So for that I did Twilight. And I see that I got some armor drops possibly from stuff. I think probably from the Lich King. I got this Scepter of Life Draining, which is sort of cool. I got some shaders and shader bags and etc. I got the Twilight Lich trophy. I got a Naga trophy. I got some of the Naga blocks that we picked up that it bust. We got some Naga scales. So, we got things like that. Live roots and roots. Night metal, ironwood ingots. But nothing here super fascinating. So then what I did was I took a look at Twilight here, just to see if there was anything that I felt like I really needed to get there, that is part of, progressing, part of opening up all our quest book. And I didn't really see any items or anything here that I was super enthused about. So then once I became less worried about going through Twilight Forest in any kind of huge and organized fashion in this playthrough. I Googled it and Googled some of the blocks that are in it. The only thing that really struck me as some of these look like they might be sort of fun and might have actual uses, like the anti-builder might have some interesting uses, but it's not craftable. And then I took a look for other things on Google that might be cool. There's an uncrafting table that basically, it takes apart things, which would allow me to get stuff out of some of the spares and extras I've got. Like I've gotten rewards of multiple things that I'm not going to use, but would actually use the components and be very happy for those components if I could uncraft them. But the uncrafting table isn't listed here, so maybe it's taken out or inactive. So on the whole, I think Twilight Forest, that's probably as far as we're going to go on it. Let's take a look at how much draconic stuff we got. 51, so that's a reasonable amount. So now I've been avoiding looking at this, but let's go take a look at where we're at. So we are now up to 4 stacks of erodium over a stack of litherite. Can't remember how much I need of all this stuff now, but I think we're actually getting close. So the goal here is to upgrade both of these using erodium. Once I make sure I have enough litherite and erodium to do that. And I think we're getting close. So I think I only need to distract myself from looking at those for a bit longer. So what else can we do? I think, let's see, I've upgraded my ME system. Let's break out the quest book and see what else we might want to get into. So I sort of wanted to get into those, but I'm not even sure what these metals are yet. I think I Googled them a couple weeks ago. I think this might be chaotic metal, and forget what that is. Let's take a look real quick. Let's go at Tinker's Sharpening, see if we can figure it out. Okay, so I think the red one is Supremium. And I think the yellow one is Awakened. And I think the gray one is Sharpening. So let's see if that makes sense. That would be Supremium, Awakened, maybe not. It looks a little darker, and Sharpened. Let's double check that. Is there any other yellow one that's a bit darker that might make sense? I'm not seeing one. Nope, I think it's Awakened. So let's see what Awakened is. Awakened Draconium. Alright, well, how does one make Awakened Draconium? By Fusion Crafting, Tier Wyvern, Charged Draconium Block, 400 million RF. Alright, so we're not making Awakened. And since since Chaotic is even harder, let's assume we're not making that. But hey, let's check. Doesn't hurt to check. So Chaotic. Am I not seeing an ingot? Not seeing a recipe coming up for that. seeing recipes come up for this, for any of this stuff, so not exactly sure. But that is so in-game that if you don't know how to make it, you can't make it, I guess. So that leaves us Supremium. And Supremium is Superium with more essence, which is Intermedium with essence. So we could do that. So then the question becomes, how do you get this stuff? And this stuff is an infusion crystal with that stuff. So infusion crystals come from the celestial altar. So we need to upgrade. I think that's one above and beyond what we've made for the tiers of altars. And you need this kind of stuff, Rune of Pride from Botania, so we'd need to get into making runes. Ender Amethyst. What the heck is an Ender Amethyst? All right. Amethyst combined. How do you get amethyst? At this point, we're not sure. Bottom line is we got a lot of work on Botania and probably Thaumcraft and Astral Sorcery to get into that kind of stuff. So that may mean that when I'm done with my, or at least need to take a break from upgrading these Void Miners, we might go back to the magic stuff for a bit. Upgrade some of that stuff. Let's see if there's any insight in. I think there is a chapter for Mystic Agriculture, maybe. There's a gate for it. There's no chapter for it. You just need to make one of the crystals to complete the quest. The Master Infusion Crystal requires items from Astral Sorcery and Botania and has unlimited uses. The normal Infusion Crystal requires items from the End or Botania as well as Thermal Expansion. It only has 25 uses. So, at some point I should probably get my butt to the End. I don't really actually know anything about the End other than there's a dragon there, and a lot of end stone, and I think there's a bunch of Endermen. But maybe I need to research that and go to the End. Alright, so what else could we possibly do? I swear there must be something glitched in my power generation, because we're just not using up power. So I'm still at 4093 melons. I'm still at 64 and 64 in my crusher. I'm still at 9988 ethylene. This guy occasionally flashes 2.8 millibuckets to keep up with its 3000 RF per tick. But it's not really burning through any liquid ethylene that I can tell. I did, so I've got that energy cell that's a 750 million energy cell, and I turned on my digital miner to Silk Touch and basically drained it. And I came in and I hooked that 750 million up to here and filled it back up. And this dutifully went from 25.59 down to 24 something. Actually, I don't even think it made it as low as 24 something because it was filling back up at 60,000 RF per tick. This thing said it was outputting at 64,000 or 60,000 per tick. It said it was using 5.4 millibuckets per tick. But even when it was using 5.4 MB per T, this didn't go down. And I'm not sure what's going on. So if we take a look at some of the stuff, so it's consuming 0 right now. It's producing 3,000. I think I saw somewhere in here when I was looking at it that it's at 180%. I'm not sure what I clicked to see it, but it's at 185% efficiency. Oh, here we go. So there's turbines. I know the turbines have some momentum, so once you power them, they keep turning and keep generating power, possibly without the burning of ethylene. So perhaps it's the momentum of these manual turbines that basically are only taking little or nothing to keep them going. At peak fuel consumption, its fuel efficiency is 185%. That's peak fuel consumption. Maybe at non-peak consumption, its fuel efficiency is much higher. I don't know. Bottom line is, whatever the hell's going on, it's giving me plenty of power. So that's good. And the reason I bring all that up is because I'm not feeling a real super high need to get far into nuclear craft or extreme reactors when I have basically all the power I can use at this point in the game. I would like to visit other planets, so possibly playing with RF Tools Dimensions or getting into Advanced Rocketry if we could might be fun. A Signalum cell frame, we could make this, I think. Yeah, could make all that, Elite plating, crystal binder. We can make all of that. Iron shafts we can make. So we can make the machine structures for this and open up advanced rocketry. You'll need materials from other planets to make some of the creative items. I think we're a long way from making creative items. But let's see what's in the tree and see if there's anything that looks fun. Got something that I haven't collected here. So advanced rocketry. Presumably we're going to come in at probably titanium. It's going to be the start of the tree. So the next thing we're probably going to have to make is a holo projector and coils and motors, and then get into this stuff. I think some of these machines are nice, so maybe I do want to try and break into this if nothing else. You know, even if we can't quite make it to other planets and have space stations or whatever else craziness is going on here, I do think that some of these machines, like the lathe and the rolling machine, might be nice. So holo projector, coils, and motors. Let's take a look at what those are. Holo projector. Oh, there it is. So that's fine. That just leaves this. That's easy to make. What was the other things? Coils and something. Let's take a look at that again. So that seems easy to make, and we already have titanium. Heck, you get titanium as a reward for making the other stuff. Coils and motors. I'm not seeing a thing for that, so it must be, let's do this. At advanced coil, not seeing it. Motor, not seeing anything. So I'm not sure what this is, but we could probably do it. And they both require hollow projectors, so this is going to be the entry point into it. So we open the gate here. With these guys, we can make them. That I can do, I think. And then we go to this, and that we can make. That we already have. We'll figure out what these are. And then maybe we can make like the lathe and the rolling machine, cutting machine. Let's take a look at those real quick. I think the lathe was one that I was sort of interested in having. Oh, it's a multi-block machine. And it requires a bunch of stuff. But that's easy to make. That's easy to make. That we'll have some of because we opened it up. Control circuit boards, I can make all that. Can make all that. Yeah, so I could make this machine, at least the basis of it. If it's a multi-block machine, then it may have components that take up a lot of junk. What was the other one? Rolling, I think it was called. Rolling machine looks pretty similar, and I can make all that. It is also a multi-block machine. I don't know if that means that you can shove them all together in one multi-block, or if you have to, turn them into a big multi-block structure with a lot of added stuff before it'll work at all, like the void miners or the advanced metallurgic fabricators. Bottom line is maybe we're going to make some rockets next. That ought to keep us busy for a bit. So I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to take a look at our runtime. I feel like I've been babbling for a long time. But let me see where we're at, and then we'll decide what we're going to do if there's any time left in this episode. Alright, so we're approaching 40 minutes for this video, so this episode's coming to a close. I did take a look to see if I could bust these machine structures out real quick for Advanced Rocketry, the opening gate for that, and on closer inspection I did find a sticking point. We can make everything except calcium sulfate, which apparently is only made from calcium sulfate solution in the crystallizer, and that solution is made from it's like that solution is only made in the chemical reactor out of sulfuric and fluorite water, and fluorite water is made from crushed fluoride into water. Crushed fluoride is made from fluorite. So we could get to fluorite and water, of course. Sulfuric. We do have a condensator. It condensates from sulfur trioxide, which for oxygen, we could do that. Sulfur dioxide, I don't know, it's a big old mess. So we need to make that, and a chemical oxidizer. Alright, so we need a chemical oxidizer to take sulfur to sulfur dioxide, and then we need oxygen and sulfur dioxide to make sulfur trioxide. And we need sulfur trioxide and water vapor from the condensator to make sulfuric acid. So this is sort of doable. It's not that horrible. Basically, gonna need a crystallizer and a chemical reactor and a fluid enricher. I can't remember if I have one of these or not. I don't think so. Is it nuclear craft? Yeah, okay, so I don't have one of those. So 3 or 4 machines that we could probably make, and then getting them all wired up. So we could get our way into Advanced Rocketry, I believe, and we could make these gating items, which are the sort of the main block used in the machines thereafter. We could limp our way into that with 3 or 4 new machines. So let me take a look at that, and then also let me take a look at RF Tools Dimensions. That might also be sort of fun. I remember playing with that like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, just a little bit, and it seemed like you could play around with it to get some pretty wild dimensions, like dimensions with lakes full of calcium sulfate, things, crazy things like that. So in a mod pack where things are so weird and gated and some things only spawn on other planets and etc., it might be just sort of interesting to explore what the RF Tools dimensions can bring us, and if we can get some dimensions that have some pretty wild stuff, dimensions full of draconium ore, dimensions full of titanium, any wild stuff like that. I seem to remember that being very hit or miss and very trial and error, but I sort of enjoy that kind of weirdness. So maybe I'll take a look at RF Tools Dimensions instead. But anyway, we're running out of time here, so I'm going to end this episode here. We did show off some good stuff. We showed off an upgrade to the ME system, so that's coming along nicely. Showed off that we are now auto-generating cobblestone so that we can make sextuple compressed cobblestone to get into. We're back up to 15k cobblestone again already. So this is clocking up at a nice level. We're already up to 6 quadruples. We need to get 4 sextuples. So maybe we'll get into that by the next episode or the one after that. And we have a loot box I haven't opened. What else? We showed off colored block crafter. Alright, I'll look into that and see what that is. I really should design a better base and lay it out and tear all this down and build something fancy. I feel a bit ghetto. Just running around in my where I'm just slapping things wherever I have room or make room. But anywho. We showed off the strip mining, the vein mining I did down at the bedrock level in Twilight Forest. We got ourselves 51 Draconium dust, which is enough to get us started on some recipes that just require a bit of Draconium, like the deep dark portal. So yeah, we're coming along. Anyway, I'll stop babbling. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.